Hey everyone, this is Nathan Broeckelman, and we are going to be talking about safe schools for our AEP 880 class, and this is Module 10. The first thing we had was some resource summaries. The first one was 3 essential priorities for school principals, and this article talks about how the trainings principals needs to be updated, and it kind of focused in on 3 things. The 3 essential priorities. One being emphasize a caring and inclusive school environment. This one is talking about that every child matters. We have to foster a positive school climate in order for our students to feel really appreciated. And as educators, we have to make sure we understand all students' backgrounds, and we have to engage our students outside the classroom. And then the second one was equip staff and faculty to embrace their own leadership roles. This one was talking about that most faculty members would rather be coached up rather than bossed around. They also want some more responsibility. And as a future leader, we have to make sure our staff knows that we trust them. We need to give them tools they need to make sure that their students reach their full potential. We also need to try and make sure we grow our staff into leaders as well. And the last one was to collaborate with your community. This was just basically what we've been kind of talking about all year with different diversities, and that community involvement is an essential but ongoing process. We have to understand the social and cultural makeups of our communities, and we need to use the community feedback to help us make smart, informed choices for our students and their families. The next article was how feeling respected transforms a student relationship in school. Students who feel respected in the classroom feel more connected to school, which also reduces suspension rates. Race and respect. The students of color have more stereotypes when it comes to discipline. It's mentioned that Black students are 4 times more likely to be suspended out of school than white students. And when building empathy, students feel more cared for when teachers take the time to help students understand them during discipline. Teachers forget about empathy due to being stressed out and depleted at times, but we need to make sure we're keeping the students in mind and maybe practicing some self-care so that we can help stay empathetic towards the students. Students who feel respected work harder in class, and respect involves a basic recognition of your humanity, is what most students said. The third resource was creating a warm and inclusive classroom environment, planning for all children to feel welcome. The classroom environment can increase or decrease a student's ability to learn. The first one that they talked about was your classroom design. We need to create a warm and well-decorated classroom that can help promote a sense of comfort and security. Create a neat and organized classroom, and that we want to make sure our furniture is organized so that students can move easily through the room. And then the next one they talked about was classroom procedures. We want to create some ideas they threw out there was create a special tradition for your class. It can help create positive feelings and bond students to the classroom. And also conduct classroom meetings. The meetings can help build problem-solving skills and also bring down behavior issues. It also helps teach some social skills. The last one this article talked about was classroom strategies. One of them it talked about was model and teach self-advocacy and self-determination skills. This is a very important skill for students, is self-advocacy. It also gave 5 steps to empowerment for students. And then it talked about self-determined learning model of instruction helps students set educational and learning goals for themselves, develop plans to reach those goals, and monitors their progress. There's 3 phases. The first one is identify a goal, create a plan, and self-evaluate. And then the article also talked about for some strategies is to teach and practice reflective or active listening. Teachers also need to listen to students to help them feel welcomed and trusted. Listening is an important skill not only for school, but for a social setting as well. And then the last thing it talked about was to use children's literature. Children's literature, such as folk tales, myths, legends, and fables, have been used to provide guidance on behavior and morality for a long time. So that was just some examples that they gave in that resource. The next resource was strategies for building a productive and positive learning environment. And it gave 6 steps to a positive learning environment. The first one being make learning relevant. The more relevant a subject, the more engaged a student will be. And then it said to develop a code of conduct. Without agreed upon understanding of positive and negative behaviors, it will be a struggle creating a positive learning environment for your students. And then the third one is employ a positive actions curriculum. Teach positive behaviors as students come from all different backgrounds. We can't just assume that they know how to act positively or act correctly. Number 4 was help students develop intrinsic motivation. It helps students turn negatives into positive, and this will help students feel good about themselves. And then reinforce positive behaviors. Reinforcing positive behavior strengthens the intrinsic motivation for students, which will result in keeping a positive classroom. And then the last one was always respond with positivity. Staying positive as much as you can is a key component in keeping a positive learning environment. And then this article also gave a bunch of tips, and just a few of those were relationships first and school second, be enthusiastic and optimistic, treat each student as if they were your own child, review the basics, and even sometimes just wing it. And we had to find some 4 articles that talked about bullying prevention. The first article I found was building a supportive classroom community in early childhood. This one gave 3 tips for creating a safe classroom with young children. And it talks about how bullying starts at a young age when sometimes kids do not even realize that they may be bullying. The 3 tips, the first one was it's okay that children notice the difference, but you have to make sure you capitalize that. And one thing it said was to celebrate the 3 Ds, which was diversity, difference, and dignity. You want to be sure to highlight the inner qualities of all 3 of these characters. And the next one was children may need time and support in resolving conflicts. This involves knowing your students' backgrounds the best you can so you can help them learn and cope with dealing with conflict. Some students maybe enter the school realm with not ever having any conflict in their lives, and so when the first one arises, they may not really know how to react to it. Sometimes it's negatively, and sometimes it is positively, but you have to be able to help teach students how to resolve those conflicts. And then the last one was community check-ins can be integrated throughout the school year. You want to make sure you're establishing good connections with family and community. This will help students and their families stay involved at an early age and hopefully continue on through their schooling. The next article was replace the mean girl framework. This article talked about the stigmatism of the saying boys will be boys, and it challenges the statement that girls are the same way but can be meaner. Instead of rolling our eyes at situations where there's girl drama, so to say, we need to talk and reinforce with girls that they need to use this social power for the good instead of hurting others. It also provides 9 tips to help prevent some of those being to teach girls to use social power for good. And also, on the other end, you need to help boys understand the roles that they play when it comes to quote unquote girl drama. And the next one was bullying versus conflict. This article talked about knowing the difference between bullying and a power struggle. And it also gives characteristics of a bullying situation. These characteristics were an imbalance of power, the intent to harm, worsens with repetition over time, the distress of the child or teen being bullied, often including fear or terror, enjoyment of the effects on the child or teen being bullied by the person or people doing the bullying, and then the threat, implicit or explicit, of further aggression. But the main points were talking about when to identify whether it's just a power struggle or if it's actually bullying. There's definitely a fine line, and it's sometimes hard to tell. And the last article was why teaching kindness in schools is essential to reducing bullying. Teaching kindness helps keep a positive classroom environment. Phrases such as pay it forward and random acts of kindness have become popular among schools. We actually have a random acts of kindness club that one of our coaches here at Broeckelman High School started. There are many benefits to teaching kindness in schools. Some of these benefits are happy and caring children, greater sense of belonging and improved self-esteem, increased peer acceptance, improved health and less stress, increased feelings of gratitude, better concentration and improved results, reduced depression, and less bullying. So the data summarization at the top of this assignment, the most common types of bullying experienced are name calling at 44.2% and teasing at 43.3%, according to the large study that was provided, and that most of this bullying takes place in the classroom at 29.3% or in the hallway and locker rooms at 29%. I think the biggest procedures and policies that are missing at the classroom, hallway, and locker rooms are the highest percentage of where bullying takes place is classroom procedures and supervision. Many classrooms where this is happening probably do not have a very positive learning environment, and the school maybe could lack, like a social emotional lessons. I know here at Broeckelman High School, We started doing social emotional lessons. This is the third year into it, and we've definitely seen a decrease in bullying and a lot more positive interaction among students. And also bullying that occurs in the hallways and locker rooms would probably be also due to lack of supervision in the hallways or locker rooms, and also just expectations of what's expected when you're in the hallway or in a locker room. What happens with change? If leaders and staff can promote positive learning environments and keep students feeling good about themselves, bullying would hopefully start to decrease inside the areas where they are most prevalent. Schools would also want to reevaluate and see where the bullying starts to take place after they have decreased in those areas. I believe the use of technology, I know the study said it wasn't really in there, but I think the use of technology is more of an issue now than it was in the past. I feel like most issues I've dealt with lately as a teacher and as a coach have been through the use of technology. So maybe some teaching proper use of technology may also need to be included in bullying prevention. And here are my references. Thank you for listening and have a great night.